Okay, I promise to do some more good guest moment videos, but I have to leave for class relatively soon. And then I'm actually planning on doing like a worst guest moment video. So this one is just kind of like a bunch of little things. I flipped through and tried to find some, I think I let go of a page that I wanted to read, but well, we'll save it for another time. Let's see. Basically, I really loved the special needs guests and like Make-A-Wish guests. And the Make-A-Wish kids, we call them Wish Kids, was really sad. Not only because of the situation with my brother, but just knowing how hard it was for these families, and like, tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us, but I don't know, I feel like these families are kind of walking on a tightrope, and you just kind of don't know if you're going to fall or it's going to snap, and so I just really, really tried to spend more time with the Wish Kids and special needs kids, because it's so hard, and I guess I'll talk about this in my worst guest moment videos. It wasn't really guest, it was actually another cast member, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. The first of like the little ones was, there was a boy in a wheelchair, and he was kind of like my brother, where his eyes like wander and he can't like really look at anything, and so with my brother we'll like put something in his vision and then like track it down, and I think this little boy was kind of the same way, but I was hanging out with Minnie at I was Minnie at Camp Minnie Mickey in the Animal Kingdom, and there was a little boy in a wheelchair, and he just wasn't, he was kind of like my brother, where he like couldn't kind of control the position of like his eyes and what he was looking at, and I finally got him to like pay attention, and it was so sweet because Minnie was holding his hand for the picture, and after the picture he just like wouldn't let go, and he just like kept holding Minnie's hand, and then when it was time for him to go, he kept like blowing kisses back, and it was just really sweet. I love spending time to like interact with those guests. There was one time I was hanging out with Minnie at Storybook Circus, and there was this adorable little like 5-year-old boy, and he like looked up and was like, "Minnie, you look so beautiful." She's wearing her like pink pretty dress, and he was just like melted my heart. So it was so cute. Some of these, like, I can't remember the ones that like I've talked about, but there was one time I was hanging out with Stitch, and Stitch hangs out in Tomorrowland, but like way back, like if like Space Mountain is kind of like towards the back at the end, Stitch is across and like right up against like the gate, and so when Stitch comes out, he kind of has to walk a while till he gets there, like through guests, so everybody's like, "Stop and take a picture with me," and so you have to kind of be like, "No, come over here, like this is where the line is." And there was this little girl who ran up alongside Stitch and was like, "My sister loves you, you're my sister's favorite." The girl was probably like 8 or 9. She was like, "You're my sister's favorite," and of course, you know, like, you hear that a lot, so I was just kind of like, "Ah, come on." So we get over there, and I guess the sister came up. She was probably 11, and she just like bursts into tears, and she's like sobbing, and she's just like got her head like buried in Stitch's armpit. And it's hard hanging out with Stitch because you never really know how much you can love the guests, because he's such like a kind of silly character and so, like, spastic and stuff that, like, you can't really treat him, you know, like, you know, he can't react the way Minnie would. And so, that's always, like, hard to, like, know what to do because these moments are clearly so special to these guests. And so it takes a lot of creativity. But that was just really sweet to know that, like, it kind of puts in perspective the relationships that we all have with these characters and, like, how special they are to us for one reason or another. And so it was really neat. It just kind of put that, like, back in perspective. And then I think it was really early in the day, so not a lot of people were in the parks. And so a lot of the time Stitch is over there by himself. And so like, Stitch would just kind of, like, creep up and, like, hide behind trash cans and stuff, and the guests would be like, ah, look, there's Stitch over there. And it was a lot of, like, older ladies, so, like, they didn't really want to come take a picture, but they were just like, oh, that's so cute. And there was this little boy who was kind of scared at first, and so, like, Stitch kept, like, peeking out and, like, hiding and, like, peeking out at him. And it went on for, like, 15 minutes, and the kid finally, like, worked up the nerve. The parents were like, you want to go hug him? You want to go hug him? So, like, he came over and hugged Stitch, and then he, like, ran away. And then a couple minutes later, he would, like, creep, and he would come up and hug again. And so he started out really shy, and he, like, kept coming back for hugs, and it was so cute. He was probably, like, two or three. So that was really cute. There was, although I think this is Mickey at Town Square in his little magic room. And there was this little boy, and he was scared, and he was, like, crying, and we were all, like, posing for the picture, and the dad was holding him, the kid was like, and then the picture came, and he went, hi, to the camera, and it was so cute, because he was still crying, and he was just like, hi, and I just remember him being like, oh, you're so precious. It's really weird, like, reading these journal entries, and it's sad, because, like, a lot of it is, like, me being like, I'm so tired, I'm so stressed, like, getting around is hard, you know, somebody yelled at me, and, like, you know, other cast members weren't so nice, so it's, like, hard reading this. I was like, oh. Let's see. I think, like, I can't find my other journal, and it's, like, freaking me out. Like, I need to find that. That's where, these are my directions of how to get to the places, because it was ridiculous. But I remember in here, like, one of the things I was, like, most excited about the whole time, I was like, I got remeasured, I, like, hope I get scheduled a fitting for Penelope, and I was, like, the whole time I kept saying that, and then the one here was like, before I start the next journal, the schedule for next week dropped, and in a week, I get fitted for Penelope. I'm so excited! Felicia and I went to see Wreck-It Ralph last night, and it was so good! And the rest of my ships next week, I hang out with Donald and Stitch! Yay! Because they were my favorites, I guess, at the time. Oh, this one's cute. Oh! This was at, when I was hanging out with Lilo at the Polynesian Resort for breakfast, and it's so sad because, like, Lilo's really ugly, like, at the parks. She's really gross, and it's so sad because when she goes around, Mickey, Pluto, Stitch, and Lilo are the ones that are there, and I didn't really know why. It was, like, such a, I didn't really know why it was like those characters that were there, but then I thought about it, and I think I'm right about this, but I think it's like Mickey and his pet, and Lilo and her pet. I think that's like what it's supposed to be. And so there was this little kid that kept being like, is Stitch your pet? Is that your pet? And it was really cute. And then it was really sad because, like, every time Lilo would walk around, the moms would have to be like, isn't Lilo pretty? And the kids would be like, yeah. I was like, when you have to ask the kid, isn't she pretty? You know, she's not. And so, I mean, because, like, Minnie Mouse, you never hear anybody go, isn't Minnie Mouse pretty? People just say, Minnie, you're pretty. And I think it's because kids are scared of Lilo, so the parents have to be like, she's nice. And that day, I also, Lilo met the Cake Boss family. So that was neat. And then, oh no, this is getting longer than I wanted it to be, but one of my absolute favorite memories of my time there was the day that Sandy Hook happened, and I was hanging out at Hollywood Studios with Vanellope, and like I've said before, I loved that break room. All the characters in there were so fun, and a lot of the times it was the same performers that were in there. And we had a TV in the break room, and we were kind of like watching it unfold, and it was just heartbreaking. And it just like, I don't know, it was so hard for all of us. We were just like, I can't believe it, I can't imagine, and we were like all talking about it. And then my lunch rolled around, so I walked across to the cafeteria there. I think it's called Take 5. And we went over there, and they have a bunch of TVs in there. And some of them had the news on, some of them had soap operas on, but like none of the cast members were paying attention. You know, every now and then someone would look up and like see the massacre like unfolding and like, you know, look and like keep eating. And I was like, how are you not like affected by this? And so I went back. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. So I went back to the break room, and like all the performers were like around the TV, and like we literally just like looked at each other and like made a pact, and we were like, we will hug these kids today, because it's so hard. Like, this may be the last time these kids are at Disney. This may be the last family picture that they have, you know, with grandma or whoever. And it was so magical to know that all the character performers in there were like, we're gonna make this special. And it was so hard because we were all like upset and we were all crying. And then those doors open, and like, you have to keep going. And just every kid that day, I remember, got extra big hugs from Ralph and Vanellope, and I could see up there Frozone and Mr. Incredible, and it was the same way, and I just felt so blessed to know that the people around me took their job seriously. And it was so hard because I wasn't really enjoying my time there, but that just like cemented my faith in the company and the cast members. And like, I went out and like, you know, to the cafeteria, and like nobody cared, and it was so sad. And you come in, and like the performers were like all around the TV, and just like, we're gonna hug them and we're gonna love on them, and and it was so sad because when kids or that age came up to us, we were just like, and like Ralph and Vanellope would look at each other, and like their faces never changed, but like we knew what we were thinking. And it was so neat, and I think that was one of, like, it wasn't really a happy moment, but it was one that just really affected me in terms of, like, the magic that this company provides, and that there are performers and cast members that don't take their job lightly, and that's really neat, and that was something that I was really, really happy to be a part of. But yeah. I didn't expect it to get, like, that deep. But yeah, so I have to leave for class in, like, 15 minutes, but I'm gonna try to, like, hash out, like, a worst guest moments video, so hopefully you will have that to look forward to soon.